Hi, so I'm Jennifer, and I've been studying at OCC for 2 years now, and I've been participating in the Conversation Partner Program for a year now. Well, a little bit over a year, and I heard about the program from a Mexican friend who told me about this program, and I think I sent my application like in February, and we started meeting in around March, and I was really happy to have been paired with Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol. I'm a librarian at the Royal Oak campus, and I have been Jenny's conversation partner since March of 21. So remember, that was before we went back to campus. We were still in our pandemic-induced Zoom life. So we started meeting on Zoom. In fact, most of our meetings have been on Zoom. I've only seen her in 3 dimensions about 4 times. Yeah. But I wanted to continue with the Conversation Partner Program because I had a good experience, a brief experience, but my first experience with it was in the fall of 2020 when I was paired with a student from China. And we met on Zoom, of course, and then this student left the college and got a job at Wayne State. So in January, I started bugging Sarah and Sharon again. I need another partner. I need another partner. Give me another partner. And this is a wonderful partner. We've become really good buddies. And it's kind of sad that we're both wrapping our OCC experience up this May, but it doesn't have to be sad because we have plans to continue to stay in touch. Jennifer is graduating from OCC next week and then transferring to U of M, which is awesome. And she'll tell you more about her plans. And I am, I don't like the word retirement, but I'm giving up my full-time job. And after 25 years with the college, but I'll probably be an adjunct librarian because this is such a great place.
Can't keep doing it.
It's hard, yeah.
Well, our game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This will give you more time to pursue things like the CPP.
Yes. So what have we done on Zoom, Jenny?
So we've been meeting for 1 hour a week for over a little bit over a year, and yeah, we've been meeting on Zoom most of the times.
Once a week.
Yeah, and something that I like, probably at first it was difficult to find a time when we could meet because of our schedules, but we always found a time to meet, and we always had something to talk about, and we had really fun activities. Even when we were on Zoom, we found activities to do. On Zoom, like I remember the time that I wanted to show her about Mexican candies. So what I did is I went to a Mexican store and bought a lot of Mexican candies, like my favorites, and I put them in a box and sent them to Carol. So when we had the meeting, I also had like the same candies, and so we could try them at the same time and to see Carol's reaction, and because there are some like funny.
Did you know chicken lollipops are a thing in Mexico? Chicken lollies?
Chicken flavor.
Oh no. Yes.
Well, they have like the shape of a chicken.
Do they taste like chicken?
Well, they tasted really different.
Really particular
not
flavor.
Sweet, for sure not sweet.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to show Carol like these spicy candies that we have in Mexico. And yeah, we had really fun.
I have to be honest, I really didn't like some of it, but it was an educational experience. It really opened my eyes. It really was interesting.
I love that you went through the trouble to send them in the mail so you could do a Zoom taste test. That's brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, because understand we were based at different campuses.
Right.
Jenny at Auburn and myself at Royal Oak. So, and Zoom was just so easy. You know, it just facilitated everything. A lot of the times we were at home. Sometimes I was in my office and you were in a study room in the Auburn Hills Library. But it just,
This semester.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because we started in March of 21 and there was the return to campus was the fall of 21. So, you want
What
to?
are some surprising things other than Mexican candy that you learned about each other, about the world as a result of your time together?
Well, one thing I thought was really interesting was you told me about your quinceañera, which is did I pronounce that okay? Which is the Mexican tradition of a young lady celebrating her 15th birthday, I believe. And they get all dressed up in these beautiful gowns. And I said, that is so cool. And you know what that reminds me of? My niece, Shannon, was actually, and this is not typically something every American does, but my niece, Shannon, who lives out in Pasadena, California, had a debutante ball where she wore this frothy white dress. And there were several other young ladies, and they learned how to dance and, you know, all these finishing school types of things. And I just thought, isn't that interesting that your quinceañera and Shannon's deb ball were kind of similar experiences in different cultures. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Did you not have a debutante?
Oh, I don't think it's so big in Michigan.
I was kind of kidding. A debut.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jenny. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to learn about Carol's, how Carol celebrates some like festivities or like her family, and it was also, I not only learned about like Carol's, how Carol celebrates some things, but I also learned about like my own culture because like Carol asked me sometimes about like I wanted to like the quinceañera. I don't know. I wanted to explain her, and there were some times that I found out that I didn't even know really
The background.
yes, the background or why we do that. So then I had to ask. I remember I interviewed my grandmother a lot of times, my mom, to know like why we do some things, and because I really wanted to tell Carol like the whole
Immersive picture. That's
yes.
a really neat. Well, even the story of how you came to do the altar for Dia de los Muertos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
talk
I
about
think
that. At one of our Zoom meetings, Jenny presented a PowerPoint about the Mexican tradition of ofrendas, which are done to honor ancestors on the Day of the Dead. El Día
El Día de Muertos. De los Muertos.
De los Muertos. And, you know, I thought I knew something about ofrendas because I had been to the Detroit Institute of Arts exhibit about them, and I was also lucky enough to go to Oaxaca with a OCC delegation in 2003 and to see ofrendas in person. But in this PowerPoint, she taught me more of the symbolism of it. It was really interesting, and I was so wowed by it that I secretly, behind your back, contacted the International Student Club and said, this needs a wider audience, you know. So then Jenny, who never says no to anything. That's a great thing about her. She's involved as a student recruiter in PTK, and she said, sure, yeah, I'll present that. So many more people were able to see and learn.
I was super nervous about that, but when Carol told me, she made me feel safe, and like she encouraged me to do different things that I would never do by myself. And I'm really happy that Carol like pushed me in that like direction to participate in different like activities or events. And yeah, so when I presented to Carol and see how she was interested in what I was presenting, I don't know, it just made me feel like I can present for. When she told me like you should present for more people, she also helped me to practice, and because I was.
You did a great job.
Yeah, you did.
Listening to you talk about this reminds me that I saw your picture on the PTK billboard over by the library.
Oh,
You
good.
just said you were a student recruiter.
Yes,
college
yes,
student. Now
yes.
you're transferring to Michigan. So having this staff person, this faculty member at OCC be a, supporter of yours has,
Yes.
I think, been an important part of your
She's been,
experience.
yeah, of course. She's been supporting me and encouraged me to participate in all of those activities. Because I remember when I told you that I wanted to be a student recruiter, because but I was not sure, and she told me that I could do it, and she even she has been writing me some letters.
Recommendations.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you certainly can do it.
When you did it,
Yes.
and here you're on your way to Michigan. Did I think that one of our goals for the CPP, and you can see, these are pretty beautiful outcomes that we're seeing. At the very least, meet someone, make a new friend, learn something about the world. But at the very best, you become lifelong friends.
Make a
mentors,
connection. Yeah.
Supporters.
Yeah.
Mother figures. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Right?
I know.
I want the college to know that this is all possible, and all people have to do is say yes.
Right. It's a wonderful experience. I remember years ago, there were people meeting in the atrium at the Royal Oak campus. They had like conversation groups. And I said, man, I'm on too many committees. I got to get off some committees so I have a little more free time for that. And so it was always in the back of my mind. And then when things slowed down with the pandemic and being at home, I thought this is the perfect time to just jump on the CPP bandwagon. And I'm glad I did, because it's just been so rewarding. Do you want to talk about the times we met in person?
Oh yeah.
What was the first time?
The first time that we met, it was in the car parade at the OCC did on what?
Oh, graduation last year?
Yeah, it was
for last year.
Your sister.
Yeah, my sister graduated, and I participated in the car parade as a volunteer, and Carol was in the.
I was a cheerleader on the sidelines.
Yeah. And we met. It was just like a quick.
It's the first time I ever saw her in person.
But you planned to. You both knew.
I knew she'd be there.
Yeah.
I knew your family was in the car, because of your older sister Valeria graduating. I was watching for that car. But then I found you at the end.
Oh yes. Oh, I will never forget that day. Of course not. Yeah, it was the first day that we met in person.
Your graduation in the week you mentioned, you'll be there.
Yes.
So we'll get to see you again.
Yeah. And then Carol invited me to go to a cider mill, to Franklin Cider Mill,
Right.
and it was my first time going to a cider mill. So we had a lot of fun, and
We ate cider dogs.
yes.
Do you know what a cider dog is? It's a hot dog cooked in cider. So it's got this wonderful flavor. And it was a cold day. It was a very gray and cold day, but those cider dogs tasted so good, didn't
Yeah.
A donut?
they? Yeah. Yeah, we had cider donuts and cider dogs.
And yes.
Hot cider or cold cider?
I think it was cold.
Cider.
I think it was cold.
Yeah.
That's in our handbook. We give suggestions for activities to do in person. Obviously, in Michigan, a cider mill is a big, one of the first things that comes to mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
So, have you been to a Tigers game or
No,
canoeing or kayaking together?
no, but we have
Both
we have
a lot of
plans.
ideas
We have a lot of ideas because we're going our separate ways. but at the top of my list is I want to take Jenny downtown to show her the historic Fisher Building and the Fisher Theater and the Guardian Building. I've been there a lot recently because my husband and I got season tickets to Broadway in Detroit, and it's like, this is such a jewel, this Fisher Building. And there's a really cool gift shop called the Peacock Room I want you to see. So that's at the top of the list, but we've also talked about the Greenfield Village Henry Ford Museum, the zoo, because they've got adorable penguins and polar bears, and the Detroit Institute of Arts. And I don't know, are you interested in Tiger games?
Yeah, I've never been in one,
Sounds
so
like a great
yes.
Yeah, we'll add that to the list.
Yeah, we have different plans for the summer, especially.
Sounds like enough to keep you busy until you move to Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Well, and then I love Ann Arbor. I lived in Ann Arbor. I got my library degree at U of M. So I know how many great
A
things.
lot of museums there.
A lot of
Gardens.
museums, a lot of places to eat.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yes.
That's in our list.
Tell them about when we Zoomed. You were in Mexico,
Oh,
and I was in
yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah, like I said, we always found a time to talk every week. And in February, I went to Mexico, and Carol asked me if I would have time to meet, even if I was in Mexico. And I said, like, yeah, of course. Like, I always waited for the day that we meet. So when I was in Mexico, we Zoomed from my grandmother's hometown, and it was interesting because that in that place, like, there was no internet some years ago. And so I thought that I would not have like the opportunity to meet on Zoom with Carol, because I didn't know if I would have internet now that I went. But yeah, and and because since I talked a lot about Carol with my family, I introduced my grandparents to Carol.
That was really neat.
In even in Spanish, they they were asking me like, how do you say hello in it, like so that they could say hello to Carol. Yes.
It was really neat. You were there for their 50th wedding anniversary of her grandparents.
Yeah.
What town?
So it is a town called Tejalpa in the state of Puebla in Mexico. Yes.
Carol, have you thought about studying some Espanol and taking a trip?
I should. I really should. I took French in high school. So before my trip to Oaxaca, I tried to study some Spanish because I was staying with a family. And I did okay with a few phrases, but a couple times I tried to say a Spanish sentence and it came out French. But yes, one of the things I'd like to do in retirement is study language. So yeah.
Se puede. Aquí.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I want to show you this beautiful piece of pottery, Talavera pottery from Jenny's home state, hometown of Puebla. Aren't the colors beautiful? She brought back a mug for myself and for my husband. And this is just one of many gifts. Oh, you spoiled me. You came over to my house and you gave us these mugs. You gave us a beautiful blue pottery clock to mount on the wall. And just so generous, so sweet.
This is amazing.
And your family is really special too. I mean, why did you come here? Your dad's job, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
With
you've
General
got,
Motors?
who does he work for?
For Faurecia.
Faurecia.
Yes.
I've seen them on I-75.
Yeah. And you've got an older sister, Valeria, who is an OCC grad and is now at OU.
Yes, and I have two twin sisters that are younger, and they are also coming to OCC this
OCC
fall this fall
So they
semester.
graduated from high school now?
Yes,
Where?
yes, and they graduated from they're going to graduate from West Bloomfield High School. Yes, and they are starting this fall
Wonderful.
ROCC.
Will they be part of the CPP?
Yes, of course.
It's an impressive family.
It is a really great program, and I've learned a lot from it. I've not only improved my English skills, but also I think I have grown as a person because, like I said, Carol always encouraged me and to do different things, and also, well, she made me like do my very best in everything that I do. So.
You know, it was challenging to find anything to even comment on in Jenny's English because her English was very, 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 very good. And I would sit back and think, we've been speaking for about an hour and it's been perfect.
Oh.
But I mean, like every now and then a pronoun or something, or
Prepositions, articles.
little things, those little nitty gritty things. But we would enjoy talking about things like Americanisms, English idioms, like it's raining cats and dogs, you know, something like that. Once we talked about superstitions. Tell me about superstitions in your culture and my culture. And we found some, you know, some overlapping, and then we found some really interesting things like, something about putting something on a baby's forehead.
Oh yeah, like
a string or something?
Yeah, like a red string when they have hiccups.
Oh.
When they have different ways to get rid of hiccups, right?
Yes. My grandma used to do it, and my mom too. So
yeah, that was very new to me. So,
That is interesting.
you know, it goes beyond language skills.
Sure.
You know, because
Cultural.
there's so much to share and
That's the word I'm looking for. Unique cultural experiences.
yeah.
Put that on our list of suggested topics. Share different remedies or old wives' tales.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation, wasn't it?
it was, yeah.
Yeah, and how do you celebrate Easter? How do you celebrate Christmas? Different customs.
Yeah, for like we talk how each of us celebrate like the different festivities, and there are some things that I found really interesting, and that I will be doing. Like, for example, Carol sent me an advent calendar, and we'll definitely do it like this December. And
Kind you buy, or did you make your own?
I sent her a vintage one from that my mom had kept, probably from the 1960s.
Oh.
You can still buy them, but this was a paper one with glitter on it. It's kind of falling apart, but. Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then the Mexican tradition of the parades before Christmas. Posade.
oh, the
Posade.
yeah, posadas or
Yeah, we talked about
yeah,
that,
we
didn't
talk
we?
about
It's kind of a live advent calendar.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Guadalupina
on December 12th. Yes. Yeah, we talk about like the different traditions or that we have for every month, and like if it was like, for example, May, we would talk about Mother's Day, and we would
Teachers' Day is this week. Students. There's a lot of
yeah,
holidays in May.
yeah, or like December, the posadas in Mexico, posadas, acostaditas, or.
Well, I just learned that yesterday was your Mother's Day because in Mexico they always celebrate it on May the 10th, no matter what day of the week it is, whereas in America we celebrate it on the second Sunday in May.
It has to do with something about a virgin, you know, it's something to do with Mary.
Yeah, but it is always like the May 10th, yes.
Yeah. Right. And Zooming from home meant that I could, I remember last year, Easter, I took my laptop and I said, let's go into the living room and I want to show you my egg tree.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, now Jenny, this is not every American. My mother was the kind of person who celebrated all these holidays that, like Chinese New Year, we would have a very big party on Chinese New Year, and I would go to school the next day and be amazed that my friends did not have a Chinese New Year party. But in my family, I grew up with an Easter egg tree where you blow out the egg and then you decorate it, and my mom was an artist, so we had some beautiful ones that she did. So I took my laptop around. I think I showed you the egg tree.
I did. And the
Which was a
egg
neat
fight.
thing to be able to do. The egg fight?
Egg fight. Yeah, you also showed me the egg fight.
Did you do it with your family?
No, but I probably will do it next year.
So we hard boil eggs, and then we, you put them on the table and you pair off, and you go like this until one crushes and the others doesn't, because you have to guess where the air pocket is, and you just keep doing that until there's the overall egg champion.
You make deviled eggs or egg salad?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. But
so the eggs are fighting. You're not throwing them at each other.
No.
No.
It's egg pecking contest with it's got to be hard boiled eggs.
Yeah.
So there was never any lack of topics.
No, we will always find something to talk about.
Yeah.
Or even or like, for example, when I was in the week of finals, that I was super stressed, and then Carol would tell me like, okay, don't worry about like to think about topics, because we will always find something to talk about. So yeah, it is not something that made me feel more stressed. It was the opposite. Like Carol would tell me to relax and that I can do it.
You're ready for these.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.